West Michigan is going to be jam-packed full of classic cars and bikes.
And we can't wait to celebrate with all of you in Beer City, USA.
We will see you there.
What if the beloved show that turned dusty relics into dazzling treasures ended not because of declining interest, but for reasons no one expected? For 6 seasons, millions watched Rick Dale and his family breathe new life into America's forgotten artifacts, creating a genuine connection rarely seen on reality TV. But behind the scenes, cracks were forming beneath the shine. Increasing drama, rigid deadlines, and producer control slowly strangled the authenticity fans adored. What happened that caused Rick Dale to walk away at the peak of success, sparking a drastic reboot and effectively slaying the original magic forever? The hidden struggles beneath success. From the outside, American Restoration looked like a perfect success story. Rick Dale and his family ran a charming small business in Las Vegas, turning rusty relics into shining treasures. Viewers loved the authenticity, the family bonds, and the genuine craftsmanship they saw on screen. But behind that warm facade, cracks were beginning to show. Pressure was mounting on Rick and his crew to deliver not just restorations, but also drama. The History Channel wanted more tension, faster turnarounds, and bigger personalities, all aimed at keeping viewers hooked. This demand for entertainment forced Rick's team into a difficult balancing act between quality work and the production's needs. The fast pace clashed with the painstaking nature of true restoration, causing frustration among the craftsmen. Even as the show drew millions of viewers and gained celebrity clients, the joyful atmosphere Rick built started feeling strained. Restorations were sometimes rushed, and the focus shifted from the art of restoration to manufactured conflict. Fans began noticing the shift as the crew's interactions seemed less natural and more scripted. The authenticity that had initially drawn audiences was quietly eroding. Rick's family was at the heart of the show, with his wife Kelly managing business tasks and his son Tyler growing before the cameras. Yet even this closeness was tested. The increasing presence of cameras and producer demands turned everyday conversations into scenes designed for drama, undermining real relationships. This created tension not only within the business, but also among fans, who felt the show was losing its soul. Compounding the pressure was the producer's influence over the shop's day-to-day choices. They began prescribing who would appear on the show, which restoration projects would be highlighted, and how scenes should be filmed. Rick, once the uncontested expert in his workshop, found himself restricted by decisions made far from Las Vegas. The show was no longer an honest document of his craft, but a product shaped by outside forces. Despite the rising stress, the shop had to maintain a constant output. At any moment, 6 to 12 projects were in progress, many with looming deadlines engineered more for TV pacing than restoration realities. This put the crew under tight time constraints that conflicted with the detailed work the antiques required. The ticking clock created false urgency and obscured the patience restoration truly demands. Many fans tried to reconcile the changes, hoping the show would return to its roots. But behind the camera, Rick was becoming disillusioned. His workshop was no longer his own. It was a set, a stage for stories scripted by producers. The very essence of what made American Restoration special was slipping through his fingers. The eventual breaking point was not sudden, but a gradual build of compromises and lost control. Yet, the full extent of what pushed Rick to walk away remained a well-guarded secret for some time. What followed would reveal just how destructive network interference could be when it clashes with a craftsman's integrity. With tensions growing in the background, the transformation from honest craftsmanship to staged drama was inevitable. From craftsmanship to scripted drama, American Restoration began as a rare gem among reality TV shows, a true portrayal of skilled restoration framed by a family business. But as the years passed, network demands changed everything. History Channel, seeing the success of Pawn Stars and similar programs, pushed to replicate that formula. What started as genuine art slowly gave way to manufactured drama. Producers began scripting conversations and situations to heighten conflict. Customers and crew members were filmed multiple times to create the illusion of candid exchanges. Restoration timelines were stretched or compressed to fit narrative needs rather than real work schedules. Fans who were familiar with restoration noticed how unrealistic these deadlines were, undermining the credibility of the craft. The shift toward drama meant genuine restoration processes became background noise. Instead of in-depth explanations, viewers saw more arguments and interpersonal disputes. The subtle art of bringing broken artifacts back to life was replaced by soap opera-like storylines, including family tensions and forced rivalries fabricated by producers. This drew criticism from longtime fans and professionals alike. One glaring example involved Rick's own brother, Ron, who appeared on Pawn Stars selling a Coca-Cola machine while pretending not to know Rick. The scene was a blatant fabrication designed to create cross-show drama, but backfired among loyal viewers who knew the truth. Such stunts highlighted how much the shows valued drama over authenticity. Another controversy emerged around a golf ball slot machine restoration. The original machine was beyond repair, so Rick bought a similar model from a different company and switched them. The show presented this substitute as if it were the real customer's item, deceiving the audience about what had truly been restored. Such decisions deepened doubts about the show's legitimacy. Behind the scenes, producers controlled more than just storylines. They dictated who would be customers, negotiating prices, and paying for restoration work themselves. Meanwhile, Rick and his crew were no longer running a restoration business, but performing on a set. They received a per-episode paycheck, often more than what customers would pay in reality, but lost the freedom to operate independently. This arrangement intensified the pressure to compromise quality for speed or spectacle. Repairing complex vintage machines properly takes time and care, but the show demanded quick turnarounds to fit production schedules. Viewers with knowledge of restoration openly criticized these shortcuts, lamenting the loss of original details and craftsmanship. Ultimately, the relentless focus on contrived conflict and reduced educational content alienated a significant portion of the audience. The very fans who loved watching the intricate restoration process found themselves watching drama that felt forced and boring. The change dimmed the light that had once made American restoration shine so brightly. The growing divide between art and entertainment foreshadowed a critical breaking point that no amount of ratings could fix. The breaking point for Rick Dale. After 6 seasons of watching his shop morph from a genuine family business into a scripted reality show, Rick Dale reached a turning point. The increasing producer control and fake drama were suffocating the craftsmanship he had spent decades perfecting. When History Channel approached him about continuing for a 7th season, Rick refused to sign on. Walking away from a successful show earning potential millions annually was no small decision. But for Rick, integrity meant more than money. He grew tired of being treated like an actor rather than an artisan. The scripted plot lines and producer mandates had transformed American restoration into a saccharine sitcom, a far cry from the honest portrayal he had envisioned. Rick's departure was also a stand for his independence and control over his business. He wanted to focus on serving real customers, not the carefully curated clients selected by the network. This demand for control over his craft was non-negotiable, even at great financial cost. The choice was clear: keep the show going under compromised terms, or reclaim his shop and his passion. In a heartfelt video posted online, Rick thanked fans and urged them to voice their disappointment to the network. The video showed a man barely holding back tears, revealing the emotional toll this battle had taken. fans saw someone truly devoted to his craft, forced to sacrifice a dream he had built patiently for decades. History Channel's response was swift and uncompromising. They moved forward without Rick, rebooting the show with an entirely new concept that omitted him and his family completely. The original crew was dismissed, and longtime fans found themselves watching a very different program. There was no attempt to negotiate with Rick or address his concerns. Rumors swirled about possible clashes or difficulties, but insiders agreed the conflict boiled down to a simple, bitter truth. Rick wanted authenticity and control. The network prioritized ratings and entertainment value. Neither side was willing to bend, and both paid a heavy price. What followed was not just the end of a show, but the loss of something rare in reality TV. By choosing integrity over income, Rick forfeited a lucrative opportunity, but preserved his self-respect. His move remains a powerful example of putting passion and principles before commercial success in an industry known for compromise. The painful divide between craft and entertainment had finally reached its limit. This ultimate refusal to continue under artificial conditions did more than end a TV show. It marked a decisive break between the maker's reality and the network's version of it. The fallout would ripple far beyond Rick's shop, reshaping the legacy of American restoration forever. The network's attempt to carry on without the heart and soul of the show foreshadowed an uncertain and turbulent new chapter. The network's radical reboot. When Rick Dale stepped away, History Channel faced the daunting challenge of continuing American restoration without the very personality who defined it. The solution they chose was a drastic reboot that changed everything fans had cherished. Instead of focusing on Rick's single restoration shop and his family, the show expanded its scope to feature 5 different restoration businesses spread across the country. This new format launched in 2016 with the hope of capturing a broader audience, but it came at a cost. The reboot zeroed in largely on automotive restoration, sidelining the incredible variety Rick's shop had offered. Gone were the soda machines, barber chairs, and vintage gas pumps. Now, vehicles dominated every episode. Cars, trucks, motorcycles, a familiar formula already well covered by other programs like Counting Cars. Fans quickly voiced their frustration, feeling the uniqueness of the original show had been sacrificed for repetition and sameness. Chemistry, once the heart of American restoration, was missing in action. Viewers no longer had one family to follow, but a rotating cast of unrelated shops and personalities. The genuine bonds that had made the original cast relatable vanished, leaving behind a fragmented viewing experience. The constant jumping between locations created disjointed stories, stripping away any sense of continuity or attachment. Moreover, the reboot lost much of the educational value. Rick's original series took time to explain restoration techniques, showcasing the patience and problem-solving involved. The new format skipped those details, focusing instead on quick, flashy before and after shots. Audiences seeking to learn about vintage restoration found themselves disappointed and disconnected. This new approach also failed to capture the passion that Rick and his team brought to every piece they touched. There was no family drama rooted in real relationships, only manufactured subplots that many considered dull or forced. Fans described the reboot as lacking heart and authenticity, a shadow of what once captivated millions. The ratings reflected this disconnect. Where once episodes pulled in millions, the reboot struggled to maintain an audience. Online discussions and reviews made it clear. Longtime followers felt alienated, and the show failed to draw in enough new viewers to compensate. The reboot simply couldn't recreate the magic without Rick Dale. History Channel's gamble revealed the risks of replacing a show's soul with a generic template. The network attempted to replicate success by multiplying shops and projects, but in doing so, erased the personal touch that had made American Restoration special. It was a stark reminder that some stories rely on characters just as much as concepts. The reboot's failure foreshadowed a swift and unceremonious end for the series, setting the stage for the final unraveling of a once-beloved show. Even as the new version faltered, the ripple effects of the original upheaval were felt deeply by the people whose lives had been intertwined with the show's success. Fallout for the original team. Rick Dale's departure didn't just signal the end of American Restoration as fans knew it. It also brought profound change to his family and crew. People viewers had come to know and appreciate suddenly found themselves cut loose as the network rebooted the series. Brettley, Cowboy, Ron, Tyler, and Kelly, all integral to the original show's success, were no longer part of the picture, facing uncertainties far beyond the camera's eye. For Brettley Otterman, Rick's stepson, though the TV ride ended, a new chapter blossomed. He used the skills he honed on the show to build Cleanworks Mobile Media Blasting, a successful business specializing in sandblasting and soda blasting. Working independently, Brettley thrived by turning the exposure American Restoration offered into a solid foundation for his entrepreneurial path. Living in Las Vegas with his wife and children, he managed to take the lessons of the past and apply them to a real-world trade. Tyler Dale, Rick's son and the intended heir to the restoration business, also shifted gears. While his Instagram shows woodworking, metal fabrication, and welding, even glimpses of family life with his wife Haley, the restoration world his father once ruled has faded from view. Tyler appears to have embraced a quieter, more personal craft focus, stepping away from the limelight that once followed the Dale family. Meanwhile, Kelly Dale, Rick's wife and business manager, parlayed the family's television fame into a new career as a licensed realtor. She occasionally hosts car events and makes appearances, leveraging the recognition from American Restoration to open doors outside of the restoration shop. This move represents a smart pivot, turning a chapter's close into fresh opportunity. Ron Dale, Rick's brother and a fan-favorite picker on the show, chose a life out of the public eye. Quietly building custom bicycles, he has kept a low profile since the show ended. Cowboy, the shop's famously grumpy metal polisher, also disappeared from view after the cancellation, leaving fans wondering about their fates. Rick himself has embraced a different pace. Rather than reopen his full restoration shop, he launched My Best Font Forward Creations, focusing on cut and embroidery work run mainly by Kelly. His social media shows occasional metal art and fabrication projects, but nothing compares to the volume or scope of restorations from the show's heyday. Rick's online presence has grown quieter, a reflection of his desire for a less public life. Occasional hints suggest Rick might consider a return to restoration someday. Videos of antique sign work and a members-only website for training and live Q&A sessions have surfaced. Yet, the physical restoration shop that once brought history back to life remains closed, a silent testament to the show's complex ending. The fallout for the original team makes clear that the end of American Restoration was more than just a lost TV show. It was a profound upheaval in the lives and careers of people who had built something rare. The bonds formed over 6 seasons remain treasured by fans, but the future belongs to new paths forged from the ashes of the past. Even as those chapters close, the story of American Restoration's rise and fall continues to echo in the hearts of those who loved its blend of history, family, and craftsmanship. Legacy and what comes next. After the upheaval and the cancellation of American Restoration, Rick Dale chose a quieter path far removed from the national spotlight. He shifted focus from large restorations to launching My Best Font Forward Creations, a cut and embroidery business based in Las Vegas, primarily operated by his wife, Kelly. This new venture highlights a complete departure from the shop that once restored America's vintage treasures, signaling Rick's desire for a more manageable and personally fulfilling creative outlet. Rick also pursued writing, authoring a book titled Classic Soda Machines, which has been well received with solid reviews. This move into publishing shows his continued passion for vintage Americana, but through a different medium. His interest in education remains alive through his website, learnfromrickdale.com, where he offers training, private sessions, and weekly updates, allowing him to share expertise without the constraints of television production. Social media reveals the depth of his transformation. Rick's once frequent activity on Twitter and YouTube has largely ceased, replaced by occasional Instagram posts showcasing smaller metal art projects. This subdued presence reflects a man who has stepped back from the hectic pace of restoration television, choosing instead a life balanced between creativity and privacy. Kelly Dale's career has also evolved, capitalizing on the family's fame in a new direction. As a licensed realtor, she has carved out success beyond the restoration world, occasionally hosting car shows and making public appearances. This shift demonstrates the family's ability to adapt and leverage their recognition into fresh opportunities beyond the original show's lifespan. Tyler Dale, poised for leadership in the restoration business during the show's run, has likewise pursued his personal passions. He focuses on woodworking, welding, and metal fabrication, sharing glimpses of his craft and personal life on social media. Though the family restoration legacy remains part of his identity, Tyler's current trajectory looks tailored to a quieter, more individual path. Meanwhile, Brettley Otterman has found notable success building his own company, Clean Works Mobile Media Blasting. This venture, rooted in skills refined during the show, thrives in Las Vegas with multiple blasting rigs and a growing customer base. His story exemplifies a positive outcome from the show's end, transforming television exposure into a solid, independent business. Rumors of a potential comeback surface occasionally, as Rick posts videos hinting at resuming restoration work. Yet, the actual physical shop where history was brought back to life for 6 seasons remains closed, a symbol of an era that has passed. Whether a full revival will happen remains uncertain, but Rick's ongoing engagement with vintage restoration suggests the passion endures, just in a different form. American Restoration's End teaches us about the cost of compromising authenticity for entertainment. Rick Dale's story is a reminder that integrity sometimes demands difficult choices. If you found this inside look compelling, make sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite shows. Thanks for watching.